Hi, everybody. Nice to be back with you in my usual spot, in my usual format for episode 99 of Tea Time. So, I'm really excited about today's episode because we're going to talk about some things that are coming up not just over the summer, but for the rest of the year. Things that I've been kind of hinting at for a little while now, actually getting into the nitty gritty. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about writing. So, that longer term writing project that I've been mentioning for almost a year now, I can finally tell you a little bit more about. And with the 100th episode of Tea Time coming next week, I wanted to tell you about what to expect in terms of what I've decided about the podcast. So, let's see, where should I start? Why don't we talk about let's talk about the 100th episode and how I'm going to structure that, because I think that'll give me some guidance for this episode as well, in terms of what to talk about. So, this is not going to be a big change, but what I wanted to do for the 100th episode is just give everything a little bit of a freshening up. It's been 2 years since I started in some form doing what I call Tea Time with Tiffany. So it started in May of 2015, and it was a vlog, just video only, and I would do them every week. And then sometime thereafter, and I don't remember how many episodes in, but it was perhaps later that fall or early 2016, one or the other, I moved to audio, including the audio as well. And so, all told, those all add up to 100 different episodes. Last week we had an audio only episode, ironically enough, no video. So, I really thought about, well, what do I want to do going forward? So now we're at 100. It's a really good time to evaluate. If you want to make any changes, make them then, because the timing just seems to fit. And so I thought about whether I wanted to move to just audio only, because then I could record when I was on the road, taking a walk, doing other things. And I guess the conclusion that I've come to is that I'm not going to move to strictly audio only. Whenever I can, which will probably be most of the time, I'm going to continue doing video and audio. But I'm going to reserve, I suppose, that right, like I did last week with Shauna in tow, to do an audio podcast sometimes when also creating a video would be unwieldy. So if I'm taking a walk and feel inspired to record with you out in nature, whatever the case may be, I'll just record it on audio and there won't be a video that week. But for the most part, it'll continue to be video and audio. I wanted to spruce things up a little bit, so I have a new theme song for the audio version that I'm excited about. That, yeah, it'll be either whether you just stream it, with the link or the little widget that I always put in there, so you can just listen on the blog if you wanted to, or if you download it onto your phone or what have you, wherever you listen to your podcasts and you subscribe, you'll hear the theme song. And it's been the same ever since I started the audio component. And so I have a new theme that I really like. So I'm really excited about that. And that'll start next week. The other things that I wanted to do was just give the podcast a little bit more structure. So this is what we're going to do starting next week. We're going to have some regular, I suppose we'll call them segments. I don't have the equipment to be able to include what other really experienced and polished podcasters do, which are called bumpers. So whenever you're about to segue from one topic, one section of your podcast into another, they'll have a little, little something play, a little piece of music, a little sound clip of some kind to distinguish the different segments. I have a very simple audio recorder, and I don't have the ability to do that. So, or if you can do that in post-production, I don't know how. So there we go. I don't think that's going to change by next week, although it's possible that it could change in the future. So we're going to be a little informal here, like usual, and we're just going to kind of move between these segments in our 20-ish minute format like we've been doing. And I think that that's going to work out just fine. And if I do figure out how I can make it a little bit more polished for the audio and add in, some sound effects or whatever, I'll take care of it. I have no idea when that would happen. So that's kind of where we're at with it. But what we're looking at in terms of segments is mostly keeping it the same, just giving it a little bit more structure and flavor. So as is always the case here on Tea Time, we're going to have a what's happening segment at the outset, always just what's going on with me. You comment in with what's going on with you. I think that that works out really, really well. I know that obviously everybody has their preference with regards to what they like to listen to. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and they're all different from each other. I listen to a lot of Catholic podcasts, but I also listen to a number of secular podcasts about ranging topics, everywhere from true crime and legal podcasts to aviation. So it's quite diverse, and I like that. So I know that my podcast is definitely much more laid back, just a very much slice of life type thing. And I had thought about that and was thinking, well, do I want it to be a little bit more professional? No, I don't think I do. I think that what I'm doing is working for those of you who really do enjoy it. And so I think a what's happening type of a feel to our time together is really what I've always been going for in Tea Time. And so I'm going to continue that going forward because it's not like what's going on in my life is all that interesting. It's just that we share things together and it makes us feel like we're not alone, like we have friends, even though we don't see each other in person, that we're in this together, that we have the support system out there lifting each other up as we go about our day-to-day lives. And so sharing that together for 5 to 10 minutes every week, I feel is something that I enjoy. I think that that's something that you all enjoy too, based upon the feedback that I got. So we're going to definitely keep that going forward. So a little what's happening. What I'll do probably most weeks is have a on my bookshelf segment where I'll tell you what I'm reading and or a new book that has caught my eye that I have put into my Amazon wish list for future reference, so into my queue. So I always have those, always. Now, from week to week, it's true, it takes me a while now to read things because I don't have as much reading time just in this stage of my life. So it would be boring if every week, for a month, I'm just reading the same 2 books. But I will intersperse it with new things because those always come up. And no matter how long my queue is, it does not bother me to put more books in there. So I will let you know new things that I have seen and put in my queue in case you're interested in those too. This week, I am reading the Harry Potter series, and I'm actually reading it with Henry, and I'm enjoying the heck out of it, out of that experience. So we are on book 2, Chamber of Secrets. So I'm reading that right now on my Kindle, and I'm also reading an Amish quilt shop series, mystery series. I could pull it up in my Kindle, but I'll wait until next week, because I'm sure I'm going to be probably finishing up or have just finished up, and I'll let you know the name of the series if that's interesting to you. And I haven't yet started The Well, but I have downloaded it. It's on my Kindle, and we're not starting next week. It's the week after. That's correct, right? We're starting the 21st, and that reminds me, I'm going to pin the timeline that we came up with into that Catholic Book Club tab at the top of the blog so that you can keep track of what chapters for what weeks. I'm gonna put that information up there. So note to self, that's dangerous. I'm gonna write a little note because otherwise I will forget. So I will be starting The Well soon, just like you are, those of you who are going to be following along with the Summer Book Club. So yeah, so we'll do that week to week. I think that'll be fun. After that, a little prayer corner. A lot of times I mention novenas that I'm praying and such. I usually pray 1 per month, so I can mention that. I can also mention different prayers that I come across, interesting little Catholic prayer tidbits that I find around the web. That happens frequently. New chaplets that I learn about. I can include those in that segment. So I think that that'll be an interesting one that will probably come up at least twice a month, if not every week. So we'll see how that goes. The Creative Commons is where I can talk about crafts. That's an important part of my creative life. And I'm a knitter and crocheter. And so from week to week, I can let you know, maybe that'll keep me motivated to finish projects because I've been working on the same pair of socks. I can't even tell you. It's been months. I'm sick to death of them, but I am about to turn the heel on the second sock and I don't want to abandon it. I want to finish so that I can wear the socks. So if I remember, I can bring them in and show them in the video, but otherwise just kind of keep it, especially now we're moving into the most exciting crafting season of the year. That is this late summer, sort of Christmas in July type of a feeling, where I start to think about what I want to make over the fall, late summer, fall, and winter. Some for Christmas gifts, other just for fall warmth presents, or things for myself. I'm making a Rhinebeck sweater this year. Rhinebeck is where the New York Sheep and Wool Festival is held every October, and I'm going this year with a group of friends, and we're all knitting sweaters to wear while we're there, and so I'm really excited. But this thing has been taking me, this is going to be a year-long endeavor, making this sweater. So I'm just chugging along, and I can show you how it's going as I go. And not every week, but I'm thinking around once a month, I'm going to have a saint of the month that we're going to talk about. And I'm going to be using, I don't have it in front of me because I didn't think about it in enough time, but I'm going to be using one of Lisa Hendy's books. And I want to say it's called Saints for Catholic Moms. So even if you're not a mom, I still think that obviously the saints can have a wider applicability to your life. So I'm going to be using that just as my fodder for, I'll just pick somebody every month and just give you a little summary of that person and how I feel that it applies to certain parts of my life, and then maybe how it could apply in yours. You could relate to that saint as well. So probably once a month, I'm thinking on that one. So those were my ideas. And so in terms of what's happening this week, that is what I've been doing. I've been thinking about the podcast and how I want to structure this, and how I wanted to tell you all about it. So that's pretty much been it. Other than that, I've written about some things on the blog, like our meal planning. We had a much better night last night. I wrote about it yesterday. The kids had not taken to it very well. All right, we'll say that. They are very averse to trying new things, even if it's food that they like in other contexts. So we have chicken. They, as most children do, they like breaded chicken tenders and chicken fingers, if you will. Chicken nuggets, of course, the golden grail of all kid food. But yet, I made it just baked with a citrus marinade. It had a pineapple salsa that wasn't right on it, but was alongside it if you wanted. And they did not like it, and they really did not want to try it. So it was a tough go. And I may or may not have gotten a little emotional at the dinner table about it, because sometimes that's the way life goes. I had a really bad day on Monday. And so it was, you know how that is when you've got all of these other things going on. There's just that one thing that pushes you right off the edge, and that was it. But after that, I think that maybe they learned an important lesson about not hurting mommy's feelings after that. And so we had just leftovers yesterday, and so that was fine. Or not, excuse me, it wasn't yesterday, so it was the day in between. So that was Tuesday. Today is Thursday as I'm recording this. So yesterday, Wednesday, we had a ginger stir fry with beef and bell peppers and onions. And I could tell, I mean, this is not what they would have chosen if they were going out to dinner and they looked at choices on the menu. They would not have picked a stir fry, but they were on their best behavior, and everybody tried both the bell pepper and the beef. Of course, they didn't like the bell pepper. I didn't really expect them to, but they did both try it. And they both were, I wouldn't say they were loving the way that the beef was prepared with the soy sauce and the ginger, and all of that, but they were like, oh, this isn't bad. You know, they ate it willingly and seemed pretty happy and full when dinner was over. No complaining about it. They were fine with it. So that, I think, is a big improvement. And that's all I ask. I know that with children, there's a lot at play with regards to how they eat and how they learn about food. And I just want to do my part to encourage them to be more adventurous eaters because I like food a lot and I want them to enjoy food and I want them to realize that there's a whole universe of wonderful food out there beyond pizza and macaroni and cheese and chicken nuggets. So we're working on this. We're working on this and we're getting there. So that's also been going on with me. Tonight we're having leftovers again. Henry has soccer, so we won't all be eating together. We'll have Anne at home because his game is a little too late for her. So she and I will have leftovers. I'm sure Mike will have some of the leftover stir fry. Henry, I'm going to make the salad and the prep dish recommendation this week is a goat cheese blueberry salad, I want to say with walnuts. And so I'm going to make that and I'll see if Henry, because my kids really love fresh berries, so hopefully he'll try that. And I'll have that to supplement. Tomorrow I'm making an egg frittata and my kids love eggs. Now it's going to have stuff in it, as they would say, that they're not so crazy about, like mushrooms and arugula and maybe tomatoes. There are Kalamata olives, and my kids love olives. So I think it's going to be okay. They have had little breakfast frittatas in the past that include spinach, and they are okay with spinach in that context. At least Henry is. Anne is still very suspicious of spinach because it's green. I roll my eyes, but this is a kid thing. And so I get it. We're just going to keep trying. So we're going to have that tomorrow. I think that'll go okay as well. So that's been kind of fun for me, though. I signed up for a CSA. I am super stoked about this. This is big in my part of the world, Western New York, of getting a little farm share every week. And this one is really nice because they deliver right to my office here where I work. I work on a big college campus, and so they have just certain zip codes or other places that they'll deliver to because they can get a lot of people at one time. And so this being a big university, that works out well that way. So this is new for us on this campus as of this year. This is a new location for them. That's how I found out about it. And so every week you're going to get fresh local fruits and vegetables, whatever is in season. Right now the only fruit is strawberries, obviously, but lots of different veggies, greens, and radishes, and what else are we getting this week? A cucumber, hothouse tomatoes, and you can go week by week. Usually with a CSA you sign up for the entire season, so that's the summer and the early part of the fall, and then you just pay a fee, and every week you get your seasonal items. With this one, what really drew me to it is that there's no minimum. It's just totally week by week. You decide if you want it, and they let you know on Friday what's going to be in your box, and you have until Sunday to decide if you want it or not. And you can also do lots of different add-ins for an additional cost, of course, but there's local pickles and jams and breads and coffee and just lots of glorious sounding things. And I just really like that flexibility, so I signed up. This will be my first week delivery on Thursdays. I am stoked, really, really excited. And so I've just been enjoying this sort of fresh food. This is the perfect season for it. Little endeavor in my life. So yeah, it's been fun. So that's what's been going on with me. Got lots of dancing stuff coming up. I can talk about that on another What's Happening segment, but this is our big season, so there's lots of exciting things coming up. But I'm really looking forward to what we have coming our way with everything going on with the blog and the podcast, with the book club coming up. I promised. So the writing, what I've been working on, my larger writing project. So in a nutshell, I'm going to be one of 7 people participating in something called the Catholic 24/7 Bible Study. So this is being spearheaded by Allison Gingras. Maybe some of you are already familiar with her. She had a radio show called A Seeking Heart for many years on streaming radio. Was Breadbox Media most recently. I know there had been a different name earlier on in her enterprise there. And I was on her show one time, if you remember that. That was back in November of 2015. As I remember, it was after the conference that I met her at, which was the Catholic New Media Conference in just about 2 years ago, June of 2015. I miss them all so much. But yeah, so she is just a wonderful, wonderful person, and she loves Bible study. And so she wanted to get together this idea of a Catholic 24/7, so implementing your faith into your everyday life as a Bible study specifically targeted to women. And so she had ideas for 7 different things, themes for these Bible studies. And so she asked if I would write one on the spiritual classics. It's kind of a good fit for the librarian. So I'm writing on things like Story of a Soul by St. Therese, and The Imitation of Christ by Thomas à Kempis, and weaving that into scripture. So this is very exciting. It's been a long process, as you can imagine, and so there's still lots of things we have coming up to make this project a reality. But I have begun writing. I need to write 7 chapters, and I'm on chapter 2. And I'm really excited about it. I had to reformat. We've changed the format of how we want the Bible studies to look, and I'm really excited about how I think the direction that we're taking with how we're laying them out. I can tell you all about that another time, but I think it's going to be really nice. So it's set up as something you can do individually yourself during a stretch of time. So let's say a week would be the more common model, although of course you could stretch it out over a much longer period if you wanted. And then you would gather with your group on the last day to just kind of collect everything, get everybody's thoughts, have some larger discussion questions, and I think it's going to be great. So I've got a whole pile of books to go through so that I can write these. But we've got some really good things in there. We also have St. Teresa of Avila in there, and Edith Stein, St. Teresa Benedicta of the Cross. Really excited about that one. Obviously, she's, in terms of saint history, a newer saint, being from the 20th century. So it's a really nice mix. Also, St. John Paul II. It's a nice mix, I think, of really ancient, if you will, spiritual classics, as well as some newer, really popular, well-known saints that have written work that are destined to be spiritual classics. So I'm super excited about this. Just please pray for me as I go forward, because it's already June. I think that I'm moving along at a decent pace, but I have a very limited window of time, and the fall is just, it's not looming, but it's just kind of out there, making me nervous, because it's going to be very busy with teaching, and I really don't have time to write once that happens. I'm going to have to squeeze in time to edit as it is. And so if you would keep this project, not just my efforts, but this whole larger project, all of these women who are working with Allison to bring these Bible studies to life and to parishes around the country, I would be most grateful, because I think that it will be a wonderful project. What we're hoping is that we can visit parishes and talk to women's groups, and yeah, I'm really excited, but it's going to take a lot of doing, and so we need all the prayers we can get. But for my part, I just need to write like the wind, so you can include that little piece of the puzzle into your prayers, and I thank you very much. So if you want to write in about what's going on with you, and so what I'm thinking is that as I talk about, the books that I'm reading, the novenas or new prayers that I come across, the craft projects that I'm working on, saints that we may talk about, you will just plug in with all of or any of those things that you wish to participate in the comments, your thoughts, your books, your projects. Yes. So your contributions to the prayer corner, to on my bookshelf, on your bookshelf. I think it's going to be great. So let me know what you think. I'm really looking forward to seeing you next week for that big 100th episode. Talk to you then. Bye.